Peace, family. Hopefully this go around I got better audio quality from the last video just posted. Audio's pretty bad. This is part two. I'm reading from Treaties on the Law Concerning Names and Changes of Names. Let's continue. Let's go forward. Before we start, as I always say and like to say, let it be known that this is for educational purposes only. I do not give legal advice. I'm not giving you legal advice. If you need any legal advice, I suggest you seek yourself a competent attorney or someone who can aid you in that area. I recommend everybody to read and study for self and come up with your own conclusion from the material that you collect from what I show you, because a lot of the times I will be reading from source or giving you a source where I get my information from, so you can do your own diligent research and come up with your own conclusions. But let's go ahead. Let's start. This is part two of the name. The name correction. Some courts, of course, call it name change. Well, most courts will call it a name change. And I'm going over again the importance of the name. I am reading from the Treaties on the Law Concerning Names and Changes of Names, all right, written in 1906. It says, from the legal point of view, the consideration of the subject of names presents very abnormal difficulties from the initial obstacle that it is almost impossible to properly define, with one or two rare exceptions. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down to the front names. So that's your first name. Your front name is what they call it, right? All right. On the earliest evolutions, one of the earliest revolutions in the progress of the human nature from savagery to civilization is marked when one reaches that point of the existence of individuality when the use of a name is an obvious necessity. So, I mean, if you want to just interpret this and put it in today's time, your evolution, when you evolve from the human nature, from a savage to civilized individual, when you reach the point where you can have your own name that will show the existence of your own individuality, and it becomes important so you can do whatever you need to do upon these seas, whether it's commerce, trust, or whatever it is, any type of contract. You will have something showing that you are civilized. It's having a name as a marker that you've reached a point of individuality in a civilized manner. All right, let's keep going though. All right, four names are what we now term Christian names. The earlier form of the term is Christian names, of course, antedate, surnames, and personal or hereditary. By many centuries, and the Christian church is all embracing practices of appropriation of authority, and in its particular practice of crafting religious ceremony of its own upon occasions of ceremonial which it found in existence quickly absorbed within its control and authority over Christian names. There is no specific statutory basis for such authority which must be implied, nor is there the small express legislative declaration thereof, but undoubtedly the common law of this country does recognize the existence of ecclesiastical law. So if we're knowing that a Christian name is based off a religious ceremony, a grafting from a religious ceremony, and we know church is a ecclesiastical law, so it's telling you that there's no statute regarding the name at all. All right, and it's follow off the customs of ecclesiastical law based on this Christian name or baptism, which is a ceremonial action taking place under the jurisdiction of ecclesiastical law. Then it says, remember here, Ecclesiastical law unquestionably retains a certain force and authority which cannot be ignored. So it says, and save insofar as it has been specifically abrogated or is in admitted conflict with the common law and therefore invalid. Ecclesiastical law unquestionably retains a certain force and authority which cannot be ignored. So they're telling you there, this is being enforced by ecclesiastical law, and it has to be recognized. The common law will, of course, recognize and enforce custom on proof made on of that custom. So you just got to prove it. As long as you can prove the custom, because it's under ecclesiastical law, as long as you can prove the custom, you're good to go, right? So that there can be no doubt of the effect in law of a custom so widespread and universal as the giving of names in baptism. So you can prove it through your baptism records. Let's keep going. There is no way to the law by which a man or woman can change a name which has been given in baptism. Wow, that says a lot, because it's telling you there, if your name is a Christian name given in baptism, you cannot change it. Why do you think they allow you to change your name in court? Because it's not a baptismal name. It's not a Christian name. So they will allow it to be changed because there's no way known to the law by which a man or woman can change a name which has been given in baptism. Well, there's a way known in law to change a name that's not given to you in baptism. Okay? Where the baptism does take place, the Christian name, though selected and given by the parents, is on a different footing. It says, of course, an act of parliament cannot do anything in this country, and in consequence, any change in the Christian name acquired by baptism must be made by an act of parliament. Where baptism does not take place, the Christian name, though selected and given by the parents, is on a different footing. So if it's given to you by the parents, that's on a different footing versus the baptism. Whatever force it may acquire, and one would hesitate to say definitely that it has any force at all, is derived only from repute. So they're telling you here that your parents naming you is really under repute. It is no longer ecclesiastical. It says, with the repeal of compulsory authority of the law ecclesiastic by the statutory recognized of nonconformity comes the first great branch in the continuity of custom. The custom and its legal validity, however, remain for those who incline to conform to it. But for those who decline such conformity, what law or custom can be said to take or have taken its place? So if you don't choose to do that, what is your other way of doing it? Well, frankly, there is none, they say, right? But nonconformists point to the provisions and procedure of the act for the registration of births. But such a supposed custom is obviously a fallacy. The act is one of the registration of the fact of birth, and of that only. So they're telling you here, a certificate of live birth, which is a registered document in court, probate of court, right? That is only a recording of a fact that transpired. It's not to give or to give a name. This does not give you a name. It only records a fact of birth, not a name. So this is why I say getting your own proper title is important. One of the reasons. Insertion of the name of a child is a mere matter of convenience. So the insertion of your name on this recorded document with the registration is only an act of convenience. And the desirability, definitions, guys, desirability only, right? For purposes of identification. It's not to give you a name. It's just a matter of convenience to record, to give some form of identification. That's why you can't use your birth certificate. Supposedly, it says don't use it as a form of identification. They desire to give the purpose identification. Desire and actually doing it are two different things. You can desire to want someone or want something, doesn't mean you're going to get it. Doesn't mean it is so. Whilst the act distinctly provides that the fact of birth must be registered, it is perfectly possible for the child to be registered without a name. Baby boy Robinson. Baby girl Jackson. They don't have a Christian name. Those are surnames. Keep going. Because I guarantee you look at your children's medical record, it's a certain, they're going to be baby girl something. They're not going to have their proper name. I mean the entire records. I mean just, oh, I got the footprints. No, the entire record. Before they get a certain age or the records get destroyed. So I suggest you get that for education purposes only and for family records. All right. The name may be subsequently added to the register, so it can be added later. But the provision relating to the name are purely permissive, so it doesn't have to be done. And for all that act or any other act or any law or custom provides to the contrary, any person may live or die carefully refraining from acquiring any Christian name at all. We're dying every day without a Christian name. You're using that all capital letters name. You die and live every day without a Christian name, without being properly named, or have some form of express baptismal record or registration showing that this is your proper name. So that obviously where a law is silent as to the name, it cannot be invoked as a statutory authority to stereotype of validity, confer a name. The sum total of the effect of the registration of a name concurrently with the registration of birth. So basically, you could register the name along with the registration of birth. It is merely an authoritative and notable record of the commencement of repute, which, however, must be continued uninterruptedly to crystallize into such repute as the law will take cognizance of. So if you say, well, I do have names on my birth certificate, well, you will be using that name and it will crystallize into your name in such repute that the at law will take cognizance of. But you see, Christian names deal with the ecclesiastical, which is more equity. Now, it's a concurrent jurisdiction going on, but it's an equity door. This is natural law. Let's keep going. It says the name, when you do the register, it stands until it's upset by an overt act or by a repute to the contrary. Well, if that cap's name is being deemed as your name along with the registration of the birth, and that's being deemed as your name and will crystallize until any other overt action supersedes it, that overt action that was superseded will be a name correction in the court to correct the record of what your proper name is. Because that will upset that name registration. But we could say this was a DBA, or I did a DBA for the birth certificate. Well, that's your name now. Because you registered a DBA. You registered the name. So the DBA is your name, but you don't want that to be your name because that name has no rights. You only use that name when it benefits you. When you are in a position of the ball is in your court. All right. And the fact that conformity has been since made permissive and not compulsory does not remove any part of legal status of a name. Doesn't remove the legal status of a name acquired in baptism by those who elect to conform. A baptismal name, therefore, is of higher authority than a name based upon repute only, for while repute may lapse or may be destroyed and superseded by contrary, baptism cannot. But repute can be superseded by baptism. I'm no Christian, but I suggest you go get your baptismal records, because that can be used to repute any of their registered documents. And it says, if therefore a child has been registered in one Christian name and baptized in another, the baptismal name is its true and unaltered name. And priority of baptism or of registration has no weight one way or the other. The entire change of name at time of adult baptism is a lawful and irrevocable conferring a name absolutely operative as a bar to prior repute. So when I say baptism, I don't mean that I'm Christian. I mean that you've been forgiven. You've woken up. You are now realizing you are the God's creation. You have dominion over the earth and things like that. You have come to the realization you are king. You are sovereign. You are competent. So you come in as an adult. Adult. That's why when you see it at court, it says adult name change. It's lawful and irrevocable. So if you can show something supporting that, it's irrevocable. It's lawful. They can't stop you. Because my adult baptismal name supersedes it. It says, see here, even by law, ecclesiastic, and consequently a lawful and effective conferring a name. So this basically talks about the church and permits the right to be performed by any person, so on and so forth. It's not really that important right there. Under these circumstances, it is desirable that the name should be written and handed to clergymen before the ceremony, so that the child may be called by the right name. Not by your wrong name, by the right name. This is your right name. And that there may be no discrepancy in spelling. Are we correcting the proper English grammar of your name when you do the name correction? That is part of the spelling because you're going from all caps to upper lower. And it says, when the written evidence of the fact of baptism and of the name given in that baptism is being created in the ecclesiastical register. It says there is possible exception to this generalization to the Money Lenders Act. So it talks about other things up top, but I'm not going to get into that. Like I said, I want to make my videos pretty quick, no more than 30 minutes. The second point to be remembered is that a change in any name leads to doubt of identity. So that if any change in a Christian or front name is made, lasting evidence of the facts of the change should be created at the time of the change. This can be done by an advertisement in a newspaper or by deed poll enrolled in the high court. High court would be probate or some form of chancery court, which is family court too. They all house probative powers. They're telling you here to make your lasting evidence, newspaper publishing, grant deed. So when you say you accept this and do an acceptance on it and do the deed of your acceptance, that's whole weight. It says a depot, however, is better versus newspaper. Such a document does not run the same risk of destruction as a newspaper, and being formally enrolled, the evidence is perpetuated beyond loss of all time to come. So it's basically saying a deed poll you would file in the county, but when you do a petition, that's part of the deed poll because that case is a recorder. It's in a family court recordings office, and you just have to accept that grant because that doc is the deed now. You just have to do an acceptance of the court order is the deed, but you just have to do an acceptance and it'll be recorded of that. It says, but such change is not a legal change, and neither advertisement nor deed poll can make it legal. The change is no more than an unauthorized alias. You ever wonder why they still consider your appellation name an alias? Because you're doing an unauthorized change. It's unauthorized. Or, for better words, it's not a legal change if it was to be just posted in the newspaper or just giving notice. It's an unauthorized alias. This is why I say we don't want to associate your appellation with your proper name, because it's going to be associated as a alias, or not your proper name, your appellation with your all caps. Okay, this talks about a little Jewish ceremony here, how they do it in Jews ceremony, and how their circumcision is part of their ceremony when they win the child. So they're giving you some ideas. All right, let's keep going. The law has created no ceremonial for nonconformity except statutory recognition, which exists of its ceremonial merit. So it's telling you that law, statutory, has nothing for the names or any ceremonial events because it's ecclesiastical. Only thing they have is marriage, which they license and codify. Okay? I'm going to stop there. All right? It talks about the increasing of how surnames came about, and that came about because an increase in the population and development of transit and other matters of social progress demonstrated the insufficiency of just a Christian name alone. All right. Then it says, where the French surname is a French, it's from French, with sur, Latin, super, meaning above, over and above. That is, the surname is over and above. Probably the phonetic corruption of the word surname is surname, or what was the origin of the word surname. Okay, and this person here, on the other hand, suggests that surnames were first written not in a direct line after the Christian name, but above it. And hence they were called in Latin nomina. In Italian, I can't pronounce these words, y'all. Please apologize apologize for the mess up of words today. I am about sleepy. I'm about to get on my video game and shoot some people, relieve some stress today. It should be borne in mind that anciently a man had but one Christian name. True, a man was occasionally described as the son of his father. So that's what we're talking about, these last names here. All right? And it tells you what a partition was and how these surnames came about. And how the Normans were the ones who put the of in descriptions of their land, which followed their name. See, Norman places to their new estates. They use of his lands, or de, which is of. All right. They were merely descriptions, and they were not hereditary at that time. If a man changed his lands, he changed his description. Told you how the younger son, who did not get the hereditament of a land, how he could do two things. He could marry an heiress, and then become described as her lands, or else he could stay at the owner homestead. The choice is his. All right? Yes, baby girl. Popcorn. Okay, I'll give you some popcorn. All right, well, I'm going to end it here. You see, my daughter's in need of me. I'm going to end this right now. Here's another one. But sons are baptized in the name of their fathers. I can keep going, y'all. But I'm going to end this here. You can, got any questions, drop your comments, hit me on the inbox. My email is T as in Tom, Ali, A-L-I, she, X-I, Amaru, A-M-A-R-U @gmail.com. Cash App is $XIAMARU, Ali. That's my Cash App. For any donations, will be highly appreciated. If not, it's cool too. I'm doing this all from the heart. But peace, blessings, and prosperity to you all. Hope you learn something from this this quick video here. And again, it's for educational purposes. I suggest you definitely study up, do your own research, and come up with your own conclusions. Peace and love, y'all.